Liverpool have lost 3-0 at home to Nottingham Forest. What are we watching here with Liverpool? It's a car crash in slow motion every single week. Here's everything we learned from the game, but an overview has to be that Sean Dyche has turned Nottingham Forest around. These guys are going to be more than safe. They're going to push back into the top of the table, and I think they could even get a European place. They're a very, very good side. They've absolutely smashed Liverpool, and Liverpool had no answers, no idea what to do. You're going to drop goals. You're going to concede early in games, and you have to find a way of getting back into it. And this Liverpool side have got no answers. At points, I have to say, I'm not trying to jump on the bandwagon here, it was embarrassing watching Liverpool trying to string two passes together, try and get back into a crucial game. You really feel this is the last result that Liverpool had before we talk about Liverpool losing their Premier League title status. They won't be champions next season, 100%. And they are going quickly into the category of one of the worst reigning champions in the history of the Premier League since Leicester City, since one of the Chelsea sides with Conte, with Mourinho. Pellegrini did more with a Manchester City side who won a double and maybe struggled the season after. This is really poor from Liverpool, and someone has to be at blame because all of the new signings are struggling. All of the new signings are not contributing towards some of the older players that have stayed there and been some of the most generationally brilliant Liverpool players we've ever seen. They're being exposed. They're playing far more football than they need to because the new signings have been so poor. If you had to boil it down to one thing we've learned from this game, is that Liverpool's generationally bad transfer strategy this summer, okay, they've been a little bit unlucky with maybe the Frimpong injury, the Leone injury. Superb talents. I'm a massive fan of Leone from what I saw in about 40 minutes against Southampton. Apart from that, Isak should be fit and ready to go. And he's getting trudged off. Ekitike isn't starting. He's been the best signing, bar none. And because of the struggling form of Wirtz, you're never quite sure how he's going to fit into the game. You've got an over-reliance on these players that Liverpool didn't quite deem to be good enough in the first place. Someone like Cody Gakpo, for example, I think was more of a squad player as a plan this season. And now he's playing a lot of football where I think they needed to revamp that left wing slot. And that's why Liverpool are looking at someone like Semenyo in January. Let's just break down all the goals and make sure you subscribe if you're new as well. Murillo makes it 1-0 on the 33rd minute. Corner comes in, bounces back to Murillo with a great finish, a far post. Obviously, a big VAR controversy in terms of Dan Ndoye being in the way or not. The referee deemed he wasn't in the way. The goal stood, of course. This is very reminiscent of the Andy Robertson moment against Manchester City. For me, if you're in an offside position and you're anywhere, the only way it counts for me is if you're not in between the posts. So if you're offside and you're 5 yards wide of a post and it's impossible for the ball to go off you into the net, if that makes sense, that's the only way it should count, in my honest opinion. If you're anywhere near the penalty box in the goal and you're offside, I think that is interfering with play on some level, because even just a bit of a distraction for the keeper, that's how I see it. Maybe that's arbitrary, but I think there's a strong argument for Liverpool fans that it shouldn't have counted, particularly after the Manchester City game. Whatever you say about it, it did count, and that it's a great finish for Murillo, who was man of the match for me today. Kept a clean sheet away from home at Anfield after the defensive shocking results from Big Ange with his 39 days of horror. A nightmare on Ange Street. And Sean Dyche has gone back to a low block, keeping it simple, keeping it physical, hitting sides on the counter-attack. And Nottingham Forest, who would have thought a month ago they'd go to Liverpool and get a 3-0 away win? What an outstanding performance from Sean Dyche. And Murillo was the main man today. He had a big hand in the third goal. Let's just talk about the VAR decision as well on Igor Jesus. Ball gets played round. He's flicking it on and it's flicked off his shoulder, his arm. For me, it felt like and he scored a great goal, which is rare for him as well. He's barely scored for Nottingham Forest, but he looked good today, by the way. It felt again like a little bit punitive, a little bit of VAR overreach. For me, it should have counted, and that's how I see it. And VAR is a disgrace to the Premier League. You know how it goes, but they didn't need it, and that is the biggest testament to Nottingham Forest. They didn't need anything from VAR today because Savona in the second half makes it 2-0. It is some awful defending. I mean, I can't believe what I'm watching. The running from this Nottingham Forest side is staggering, and Liverpool couldn't keep pace. And it's Mohamed Salah actually that's trying to block the ball coming across, and he doesn't do anywhere near a good defensive job before that ball gets whipped back into Savona with a great finish. Salah is culpable for me for the defensive frailties of the second goal. He had an absolute stinker today, lads. He really did. 3-0, Amari Hutchinson, someone that we've not really seen too much of course, left out of the European squad at the start of the season. A big expensive transfer from Ipswich after a very big and expensive transfer in his own right going to Ipswich, obviously last season. A very talented, mobile, two-footed footballer. And a long ball comes looping over to him. And he takes an unbelievable touch, runs at Andy Robertson. I mean, he's destroying Andy Robertson. It's crazy. And then he cuts it back, and Gibbs White gets a bit of a lucky deflection back into his path with a great finish into the bottom corner. Andy Robertson, really, I've been a massive fan of Andy Robertson. I think he's their best left-back still. That doesn't mean he's good enough for the job that Liverpool need him to do. He's a legend there. I still think he should have been in the squad. But if Kerkez comes in and lands, then you don't need to be playing Andy Robertson in the final 20 minutes against Amari Hutchinson, who's coming on, trying to do things, trying to run at you, trying to cause havoc, which he did and set up the third goal. Andy Robertson looked absolutely shot, and he came on for Kerkez in the first place. So that left-back situation, honestly, as a number, we're talking 0 out of 10. They've got absolutely no idea what to do. They haven't got enough bodies. Arsenal have got 2 or 3 centre-backs. You could play left-back. Hincapié could go left-back. Skelly, Calafiori's a centre-back for some people. He could go left-back. Urian Timber could go left-back. Manchester City have got a few that could go there. Gvardiol could go there. Nico Riley could go there. Nuri can go there. There's a few. And you look at Liverpool and you think, Kerkez can't start and Andy Robertson can't finish a full game. These guys are in a world of pain at left back. It's embarrassing stuff. It really is. Let's just talk about Liverpool. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. We have to go from top to tail with this one. Isak, down the middle. He had an absolute stinker. Lost the ball about 7 times. Link-up play, 0 out of 10. Shots on target. There's one that he scuffed. I just thought, wow, this guy's lost a little bit of power. It's all about, we keep talking about pre-season. Guys, it's 22nd of November. It's nearly Christmas. I'm seeing the John Lewis advert, the Frankie Knuckles track. It's a beautiful thing to behold when we're seeing Frankie Knuckles on mainstream TV advertising. But it's Christmas. What's Alexander Isak doing? He should be fit. There's been an international break. Sweden are rubbish. Right? Why is he not sharp? Why is he not fit? And the big question mark for me about Isak, why is he playing down the middle? I think Ekitike has to play down the middle. Salah, fine, we can debate Salah on the right all day long. What about dropping Gakpo and putting Isak off the left? He's done it for Newcastle. He's done it before when I've seen him at Sociedad. Cutting off the left and banging things in on his right foot. He's done it for Newcastle in the Premier League. I know he wants to be a number 9. I know he's got the number 9 shirt. I know he costs a lot of money. But why not have him cutting off the left and give him a little bit more freedom? When you're playing down the middle, it's actually a little bit harder because you've got so many bodies around you. You've got less space. That's why the likes of Kylian Mbappe likes coming off the left. Vinicius likes coming off the left. Salah comes off the right. Coming off the wings and banging things in is almost a little bit easier than it is playing down the middle. And that's how I see it. And Isak, for me, is getting bullied by centre-backs. He's getting swallowed up by the likes of Milinkovic and Murillo today. He looks absolutely superb. Sangare and Anderson ahead of him. He's getting no clear precision passing into his feet. He hasn't got enough space to turn and do stuff with it. He can't carry the ball. At least on the left, he could run at a fullback. You'd fancy him against Savona a little bit more than you would against Milinkovic in the air. Milinkovic at points was out jumping him and bullying him in the air, just outreaching him for every single opportunity. So Isak, for me, is the big thing we have to talk about. I think this is going to go down as a Titanic-sized flop of a generational proportion. We've not seen this since Shevchenko coming to Chelsea for 30 million quid, which is a very similar price tag adjusted for inflation. This is massive floppage waiting to happen. He has to be changed. Arne Slot has to either drop the guy or play him off the left. That's how I see it. Because Ekitike gives you physicality. He gives you that pace. He gives you that little bit of guile in between centre backs, little flicks, little cushion touches. Isak hasn't got that at the moment. I don't know what Isak's actually good at the moment. His form has been absolutely awful. It's really poor. So that's the first thing I want to talk about. Salah, defending for the second goal, shocking. There's a moment that was so indicative of the Liverpool plight right now. Ekitike comes on. He looks a little bit frustrated that you'd be on the bench. It's embarrassing, really. In a meritocracy like football, should really be. How's he not starting based on how good he's been? Anyway, he comes off the bench, and Salah's trying to take a shot, and he bounces into Ekitike. They both collide with each other, which is such a rare thing to happen in professional football, that you're training with these guys every single day at the highest level. This is Sunday League stuff when you're colliding with someone on your own team, and you needed a goal as well. It was only 2-0 at that point. So Salah, shocking. His legs have gone. He looks a little bit slow. I thought Williams locked him up in a big way. Anderson on the left-hand side, that double pivot, was controlling and patrolling that side of the pitch in a beautiful way. I think Salah looks cooked. I think Isak looks cooked. Gakpo looked the most lively of the three. That isn't going to win you league titles. It really isn't. I want to talk about Sean Dyche, because Nottingham Forest, they were a couple of decisions away from being in a genuine relegation battle now in December, January, February. If they got Sean Dyche wrong, if they persisted with Ange Postecoglou, these guys could have even been relegated. It was so bad at one point, I couldn't see where even goals were coming, let alone anything else. And Sean Dyche has given this Nottingham Forest side so much quality. Dan Doy was always a great player anyway, even for Nuno right at the start of the season. I liked him when he came in. Obviously a big money move in the summer, but Sean Dyche got a lot out of him. I thought he was brilliant today. Sangare as well. Sangare and Elliot Anderson is a beautiful pairing. But Morgan Gibbs-White, I think it's an interesting topic about Morgan Gibbs-White. He's not really in those England conversations as he used to be. I think there's a world he just doesn't go to the World Cup because there's so many players ahead of him, number 10s. And he'll be frustrated by that because he's in that kind of James Maddison. He's not quite Cole Palmer, but he's just behind a Phil Foden type. Kobbie Mainoo, slightly different positions, of course, but in that bracket of players that we discuss, Declan Rice starts, Elliot Anderson, Adam Wharton and Bellingham for me will have to start. But Gibbs-White, if he has a good 6 months now, he could definitely make the plane. He's scored in 3 consecutive Premier League games for the first time in his career, so he's coming into really, really good form. Look, he was a little bit lucky with the goal, but Morgan Gibbs-White was brilliant today. Sean Dyche deserves a lot of credit. Getting Gibbs-White back to his best goal-scoring form ever. Getting a tune out of Jesus, who offers you so much mobility and tenacity up front. Sells looks like a far more confident keeper because of the defensive strategy that Sean Dyche is employing. I'm a big fan of what Nottingham Forest have done with Sean Dyche. He's got lucky, I think. He left Everton not in the greatest way. He's landed up a little bit into a club in Europe where Everton weren't. And Nottingham Forest are an equally big club to Everton, arguably. And he's done very, very well. He deserves it. And I think beating Liverpool 3-0 away from home, it's a famous result for Nottingham Forest. It is. They haven't had many of these in many decades, since Brian Clough. You don't beat Liverpool if you're a Nottingham Forest fan at home in the league 3-0 very often. So you've got to enjoy it. They were absolutely superb. And Liverpool got to go back to the drawing board. These guys are in a world of pain. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Make sure you subscribe. And I'll see you very, very soon.